and I've got to keep a cool head and just maintain a good steady pace like I did today.
Stay tuned for more Roof of Africa highlights. The car route for Racing Section 2 would again provide for a variety of differing conditions, but no one was prepared for the early drama that struck the Chepex. The race leaders ground to a halt just 8 kilometers from the start with a broken engine. The Chepex was stranded on the side of the road when Herman and Karl-Heinz Sulwald sailed past them and into the lead. With the Chepex out of the race, Derek Johnson moved into second place on the quad racer. The demise of the Chepex also saw Kasi Coetzee and Richard Leek pick up a place in the Toyota Hilux. They were being chased by Rob Walk in the Superpave Raceco. The other notable casualties at this stage were Klaus and Gerd Degener, who withdrew when navigator Gerd took ill at the overnight rest halt. Francois Smit had moved into second place in the quad category, and looming up in the dust behind him was the Cliff Barker Mike Redden Land Rover. A great battle was starting to develop between the Land Rover and arch rivals RP Reneker and Lucas Dreyer in the Toyota Land Cruiser. The overall race situation was also interesting, with 3 special category vehicles being chased by 3 production class entries. Also going like a bomb and leading Class B was the tiny and superbly turned out Chenoweth, driven by Joe Smith, which had quietly moved into the top 10. The motorcycle brigade followed a circular route from the start back to the finish in Maseru, but unless something untoward happened, Alfie Cox was a cinch to add another chapter to his Roof of Africa legend. Cox simply took up where he left off the previous day and again demonstrated why there's no one to touch him in South African off-road racing. Behind the race leader, Errol Dalton and Darrell Curtis were still riding together. The pair had decided to keep each other company, and their only problem was to stay ahead of whoever was trying to sneak up behind them. It was tough going up the mountain tracks, but for the bikers, this sort of thing is all in a day's fun. There'd been another change in the 200 class. Overnight leader Alex Vowles lost around an hour when he took a wrong turn, and Richard Banning went back into the lead on the Winston Yamaha. Back with the cars, there was also a shifting scenario. Rob Walk was starting to lose ground in the Superpave Raceco, and there had also been another change in terrain, with rocks and boulders giving way to thick sand. Derek Johnson was still going like a train on the Yamaha Quad Racer, while Cliff Barker and Mike Redden in the Land Rover were making up ground on the race leaders. There were also problems for Carl van Rensburg and Dries Buys in the Fleandri Motors Raceco. The Raceco had picked up suspension problems, and van Rensburg and Buys were forced to take it easily and were coming dangerously close to dropping out of the top 10. There was the usual frantic activity at the final refuel and service point, with the technical crew working frantically on the Walk Superpave Raceco, which had developed problems with the power steering.
That's why I look, because the engine oil is very hot. Yeah. Okay, I can turn it from this side.
While Walk looked on anxiously as running repairs were carried out, Alfie Cox went serenely on his way at the head of the motorcycle field. With the race in his pocket, it looked at times as though Cox was on a Sunday outing through the park. Also thoroughly enjoying himself was Derek Johnson on the Yamaha Quad Racer. Johnson had a huge lead in the quad category, and in a tremendous performance was keeping pace with the leading cars. There'd also been dramatic developments at the front of the car field. The Land Rover in the hands of Cliff Barker and Mike Redden had surged into the lead. The cross-country championship leaders had taken complete control late in the race, and against all expectations had beaten off the challenge from the special vehicles. Still riding together, Errol Dalton and Darrell Curtis were enjoying themselves hugely. A flat-out section not far from the finish gave the pair the chance to indulge in some showboating, and they were making the most of the opportunity. Back with the cars, there was another blow for the Special Vehicle Brigade, with RP Reinicker and Lucas Dreyer moving into second place in the Toyota Land Cruiser. In the 200 class in the motorcycle section, there'd been another change of leadership. The Lesotho Office Equipment Kawasaki, ridden by Graham McLaughlin, had moved ahead of Richard Manning, who ran into late problems on the Winston Yamaha. The Saward brothers may have slipped to third overall in the car section, but were still out in front in the special vehicle category and were trying as hard as ever. In any sport, there's no substitute for class, and Alfie Cox once again proved to be the class act of the Roof of Africa Rally. The Italian cruised to his 6th win in one of the world's toughest off-road races. The fact that only one other rider, Italian Elio Andrioletti, had ever won the Roof more than twice puts Cox's record in the race into perspective. First to congratulate a delighted Cox was his wife.
For Alfie Cox, 6 times winner, this pro-action Castrol race.
In a superb performance, Derek Johnson was flying towards victory in the quad category. While Cox celebrated his win in traditional fashion, Johnson roared into the stadium at the finish, looking as fresh as he did at the start.
And please welcome on the second competitor on this year's Gestetner Lesotho Sun Roof of Africa, the quad K2, Derek Johnson.
There was plenty to celebrate in the AAD Land Rover camp when Cliff Barker and Mike Redden came roaring home to take both overall honours and victory in the production vehicle category. The win clinched both the overall and production category South African cross-country championships for the pair.
Big hand there for Cliff Barker and Mike Redden. Just got to hold back for 1 minute and 20 seconds on those lateral reads. 1 minute.
Cox was busy signing autographs at the finish, and the AAD Land Rover squad were celebrating with champagne when Herman and Cole Heiss-Sulwald crossed the line to win the special vehicle class.
That's the entry of in the race go.
Overall victory and 250 class honours to Alfie Cox in the bike category, with Graham McLaughlin winning the 200 class and Tom Claassen the 500 category.
They haven't had rain here, it looks like, for a long time, and you know, it's so eroded, it's rutted, it's dry. When they did have rain, all this topsoil's been washed away and the rocks are sticking out even worse than ever. And it gets harder and harder every time we come here.
In the car category, an emphatic overall win for Cliff Barker and Mike Redden. With RP Reinicker and Lucas Dreyer in second place, a triumph for the production vehicle runners.
So I think it was good for the truck. Under ideal conditions, we got a first and second in the Roof. I think that proves that the commercials can do it.
Highlights of the Gestetner Lesotho Sun Roof of Africa Rally were proudly presented by AA Racing.